This is Dolynny TV. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel this fine Tuesday evening. And let me tell you, you see I'm in a suit. You see I've got a shirt underneath, and you know it's not Saturday. And I promise you this video was not recorded on a Saturday, alright? This is not something I pre-recorded 3 months ago and I'm just throwing up now because it conveniently makes sense after all this time. No, that's not what I'm doing here. What conveniently makes sense is after 2 games being shut out by the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Edmonton Oilers have gone back to Yamamoto, Leon Draisaitl, and who's that guy on the left wing? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. That was the lines at practice today. That's mighty convenient that it took losing a shot at first place for Dave Tippett to finally go back to what works. Or what supposedly works. Or what everybody thinks works. Whatever you want to say about the dynamite line, that is where we're back to now. Now that still does not explain why I'm wearing a suit on a Tuesday evening and a pajama top plaid shirt underneath. But I'm about to do that for you right now. Now, this is kind of also a pitch as to why you subscribe to Dolynny TV. So if you're new to the channel right now, take the next 8 or 9 minutes here and consider subscribing and sticking around, because this kind of stuff, it's a regular thing. So, here I am, right? All day. All I'm seeing all day after practice ended. The Oilers have reunited Draisaitl, Yamamoto, and Nugent-Hopkins. Okay. That line came to be just shortly into January. Correct me if I'm wrong, January 2020. Okay, so what do we know about that? Well, that was around the halfway mark of the NHL season. Yes. Okay. So, flashing back to why I'm in a suit and pajama top. I'm giving this away slowly. The slow build's going to kill you, and I know it kills everybody. And if you've already commented without listening to the rest of the video, you're going to miss the point here. So, okay, great. Tyson's wearing a suit, pajama top, and he's talking about halfway through the season. Well, I'm trying to do something here, okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to do something here that's perhaps mostly a style thing to put along with my thoughts. Now, we know head coaches in the NHL tend to have specific styles or else they fit a norm. Now, the guys who think outside of the box, or the guys who are a bit more outspoken or a bit more flashy, tend to sometimes also draw attention to themselves in the clothing department. Okay. Guys like, I'm not talking head coaches now, but a guy like Brian Burke, who's drawn attention to himself for the tie thing for years, right? That's a thing that makes sure Brian Burke is top of mind, right? And you think, well, Dave Tippett, he's a head coach. He's actually a really sharp dresser. But the thing that draws attention to him is he ignores the cries from the fans to bring back the Tippett mustache. That's the thing he does that always draws attention to him. Everybody's always like, when will that mustache, that glorious mustache, return of Dave Tippett's? The Nuge Draisaitl Yamamoto line has just returned, by the way. So, here I am. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to channel my inner head coach, my inner NHL head coach on this one. Because it's a confusing one at best, is it not? You've gone 24 games into the season. And by my best guess, I'm not going to spend 5 minutes here trying to find a website that tells me what 5-on-5 minutes Nuge, Draisaitl, and Yamamoto have played together this season. But by my best guess, it's not more than about 10 minutes, if even 5 minutes, this season 5-on-5, that line. Okay, so where am I going with this? Well, you're a head coach. You've got this secret potential dangerous world-changing weapon of a line in Draisaitl, Yamamoto, and Nugent-Hopkins. Okay, now let's go back to my other point, all right? Let's go back here to that when was that line formed last year point? Oh, yeah, it was right around the second half mark. Now you think about where the Oilers were last year. Desperate need of offense, desperate need of a change in the lineup, somebody that's going to do something. Enter Kyler Yamamoto and that second line. Now the Oilers, perhaps you could say, in a better position than they were last year when they formed that line. The Oilers, points percentage, I know everybody argues with me when I say second, so points percentage wise, we're third in our division. Right? Okay, great, dandy, awesome. So that's the points percentage right now. We're third in the division. Pretty much, if we can coast into the playoffs, 4-3-1, every set of 8 games left in the 4 sets of 8 games we have left, we make the playoffs with 65 points or so, 64 points or something just dandy around there. Okay, all right, that's easy. We don't want to coast into the playoffs. We want to go supernova and dive right in the top 2. Well, enter Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, Yamamoto. That's what they did for us last year. That's what they will do for us this year, according to everybody that from opening night, from training camp actually, has been crying to see Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, and Yamamoto. Okay, Tyson, I still don't understand why you're talking about the midseason and all this. Well, you compare this year to last year and where we're sitting and everything. Yeah, it's maybe marginally better this year. Not huge, but marginal. And okay, great. That's awesome. Now you're going to put together the NHL's best line from 2020 and throw them to the Wolves and say, hey, we're coming off some terrible games. Let's go feast on our opponents. Well, in fact, you have potentially put together the NHL's best first line once again. Now, why am I wearing the pajama top and the suit jacket? I'm head coach Dave Tippett. Right now, I'm going to focus in on his mindset. He has just coached his team for 24 games, the Oilers, into second place, third in the division in point percentage. And his team, you know what? Yeah, there's bumps and bruises along the way, but this team has been capable of winning without Draisaitl, Yamamoto, and Nugent-Hopkins. Last year's team was capable of doing it in the first half. Yeah, things got sorry a little bit in November, December, but still did a job. It all came down to the last game of the season, did it not? Against Winnipeg, that made or make or broke our season, and it did. Okay, fair enough. So, here I am, head coach Dave Tippett. Why am I dressed like this? Because I got to get into that NHL head coach mentality. You know what? You knew this group was capable of surviving without that. Now let's flash back to something we heard on a Sportsnet broadcast a couple of weeks ago. This is my final key piece of evidence as to where I'm going. Is the fact that Dave Tippett is scared to overplay Kyler Yamamoto because of the way he plays, the way he needs to play, the size he is, and of course the risk of injury if you overplay him because of his size. That was the gist of a comment on Sportsnet. I can't remember who said it. I can't remember what the graphic was about, but it was explaining why Yamamoto doesn't see as much power play time for the Oilers as one should expect to see a player in the top 6 play. Okay, hold on. So now you're talking about reuniting the NHL's best line of 2020. You're talking about reuniting what is now the Edmonton Oilers' top line. You're talking about doing it at a similar part of the schedule as last season. You're talking about Kyler Yamamoto being precious goods to the Oilers. Do you see this? Do you see the big picture now? Maybe, if I'm head coach Dave Tippett, this was planned all along. Now, get back to that point I said earlier about subscribing to Dolynny TV. You don't come to me because I report what Ryan Rishaug or Bob Stauffer reports. You don't come to me because I report what the Oilers released on Twitter today. You come to me because I am a different voice within the space. And sometimes crazy, for better or worse, quite honestly. But inside an NHL head coach's mentality here, you have a winning hockey club that was capable of winning without the league's best line of 2020. You're midway through the season. You've managed Kailer Yamamoto's ice time. You are now at the point of the season which A, the situation dictates what you have to do, and B, it's the situation you found yourself in last year in which you found yourself putting these three guys together. And it seems all too convenient to do it at the same time as last year in a same situation when you need the same results from the same three guys. I'm not saying big conspiracy theory, it was planned all along, but it's really something that seems to shape up all too mightily convenient not to have been some sort of pre-planned idea. Not saying it was all the way from the start of the season, because right, we were 3-6-0 and who knows what could have happened there. But at some point in Dave Tippett's mind, he has had this year this is when I do it. This is when it happens. And whether it be halfway through the season, because that's what they did last year, whether it be managing Kailer Yamamoto's ice time and making sure he can give you as much as possible down the stretch, whether it be just because the team needs that lift when it seems they have no other lifts to get. Fair, right? Zach Kassian's on the lineup. He isn't going to spark you with a fight. Jujhar Khaira is almost too valuable right now to fight. Darnell Nurse is playing 30 minutes a night. You can't lose him for 5+ whatever. So right now, there's a lot of factors here that in my mind are playing into this more so than just 2 shutout games against the Toronto Maple Leafs. You wonder why you subscribe to Dolynny TV, because one thing I learned in college is sometimes you got to think outside of the box to get results, whether people like it or not. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed thinking outside of the box with me as I got in touch with my inner NHL head coach. I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I am up on out of here.